Hey, welcome back to another episode with Strategic Solutions Technology. I'm your host, Dr. Travis Norris, and I am the founder and the developer of the Norris PMI Thinking Framework, where we help you not only sit for your exams, whether that be the PMP exam or the PMI-ACP, but we help you pass it as well. Well, today I've been really focusing on PMP, like on all of my videos, but today we're going to look at the PMI-ACP. So, talking to my students, I put together this slide deck to really help you develop the agile mindset. And what I've learned from taking the exam myself and also helping other students just here recently take their exam, and they've used our boot camp on our website. All the information will be below. Make sure you click on it. They used it, and what I'm finding out, and from hearing other people's feedback, is that the ACP can be kind of difficult because you think that it's just agile thinking, where the PMP kind of had you looking at hybrid, looking at predictive, looking at the agile mindset the PMP exam did. Where ACP, you're saying, okay, hey, it's just focusing on the agile mindset. And that's true, right? But you also have extreme programming in there. You have some Kanban questions, you have some Scrum questions. And if you're not careful and you don't prepare properly, it can trip you up. So today's video, we're going to look at the PMI ACP, and we want to help you get prepared for that. Now, the current PMI ACP, the content outline organizes the exam around these four major domains, right? So we have mindset, leadership, product, and delivery. So you kind of want to look at this, right? So there's this percentage base kind of out there, and today we're going to look at about, I think, 10 to moderate difficult questions, and then we have one expert question. Now, you're not going to see a lot, if any, expert questions on the exam. They'll typically stay around the moderate or difficult questions. And so you kind of want to prepare. And as I always say, you don't want to memorize Kanban terms only, or Scrum terms like product owner, development team, Scrum master, agile practitioner. You don't want to just try to memorize that, but you want to understand them and how you can really put those into play. So if you're a PMI ACP candidate, you must think beyond the agile terms, okay? This exam really tests your judgment across the mindset, servant leadership, product value, delivering that value early and often, and then the delivery decisions that you make. So you're going to see a lot of our questions kind of surrounded around that so we can prepare you. So the Norris PMI Thinking Framework, right? You're going to think, analyze, you're going to communicate with your stakeholders and your team. You're going to lead, servant leadership, and then you're going to deliver. So read the scenario. Find what domain you're in. Find what they're asking you. Is it a Kanban question? Is it a Scrum question? Um, is it asking you something with extreme programming? And really understand that. And again, our boot camp will help you get prepared for that. We are going to be launching a Udemy course here soon that's going to help you get your PDUs and get you prepared for that. Choose the best next step. These ACP questions, they're usually asking you for the most facilitative and value-based action. What's going to deliver value early and often to the stakeholders, and then explain your thinking. If you can't explain why, you are guessing instead of thinking like PMI. We don't want that. We want you to understand why you're asking that question. So let's jump in and let's see what you do. A Scrum team is struggling to meet sprint commitments. Okay. During the sprint review, stakeholders begin criticizing individual team members. What should the agile leader do first? Now, you have this sprint review that comes right before the sprint retrospect, and you have all of these things going on. What should you do? Letter A, escalate the issue to executive leadership, replace the underperforming team members, extend the sprint to allow the team to finish the work, or D, protect the team while facilitating constructive feedback. Now, this answer should jump right out at you, right? So remember, if you've seen some of my other videos talking about the PMP exam, escalation is typically not what we want to do first. That's what the question is asking you. Think about the question and read it. What should the agile leader do first? Now, at some point, you may need to escalate. At some point, you need to replace. And maybe at some point, you need to extend. But what about this question? I'm leaning towards D. Let's give it a go. What did you choose? Well, if you chose D, you chose right. Protect the team. That's a part of the lead aspect of the Norris PMI Thinking Framework. Lead. Protect psychological safety. Make sure your team is safe mentally, but then let's provide constructive feedback. See, the best first action is to create the safety for the team while still allowing the stakeholders to have their own feedback. But tearing someone down, being condescending, that's never okay. And as a servant leader, as an agile practitioner, that's your job. All right. Letter A wasn't correct because escalation before facilitation is always wrong. B treats the symptom as a personal issue. Replacing team members, you never want to do that. That's always a question or an answer that you want to eliminate. And then C, it changes the cadence without addressing the team's safety or feedback. You're going to need your team. We're just in a sprint. We're in a sprint review. And that's what a sprint review is for, you all. It's to figure out right before we go to the retrospect, what did we do well? What could we have done differently when we get to that retrospect? And so we can build the team up. So in the next iteration, the team feels empowered, they feel encouraged, and they're ready to tackle the next sprint. So if you chose D, that's the rationale behind it. Very good job. Let's keep going. All right, so during a sprint, the product owner wants to add 3 new features because a customer requested them yesterday. The team is already at capacity. What should happen first? Okay, so the product owner who's over the product backlog, they're working for and representing the customer. What should happen first? Let's look at our scenarios or our suggestions here. A, evaluate the value and impact with the product owner and team. Okay. Add the features immediately because Agile welcomes change. C, remove equivalent work from the sprint without team discussion. Or D, tell the customer the features must wait until the next release. All right, you can eliminate 2 of these already. All right. And then A and B are trying to confuse you. All right. So what did you choose? I'm leaning towards A. What did you choose? It's A, right? So you evaluate the impact with the product owner and team. Now, the product owner, he or she controls the backlog, the product backlog. They own that, right? But because we're already at capacity in the mid sprint, collaboration. Look at the second block of the Norris PMI Thinking Framework. Communicate. See, you make the impact visible when you get all of those stakeholders, all of those team members together. Product owner, the scrum master, the agile practitioner, and the development team. And we come together. Yes, B was correct. There is change welcome in agile, but for this particular question, it asks you, what should you do first? So that collaboration is so key. Yes, it welcomes change, but it does not ignore capacity. So during our sprint, if the team is at capacity, we need to get the team together so that we can understand where this can fit. We don't make decisions unilaterally. We don't make them in a silo. So B confuses agility with chaos. Even though we're an agile team, it doesn't mean we avoid communication and collaboration. All right. And if that video froze a little bit, I do apologize about that. But look at letter C, change the sprint unilaterally. We don't want to do that. We want to collaborate. We want to think, we want to analyze. And then D, it rejects change without evaluating value. So yes, agile, yes, sprint, yes, agile projects welcome change, but they need collaboration. And the question asks you, what should you do first? That was a good one. That was a good one. I like that one. All right. Number 3, key stakeholder frequently misses sprint reviews, but later complains that the delivered functionality does not meet expectation. What should the agile leader do? So now this question is a little bit different. It doesn't ask you what you should do first, last, or next. It's actually what you should do overall. So let's read through our suggestions here. Ignore the complaints because the stakeholder missed the reviews. Escalate the stakeholder issue to the sponsor. There goes that word escalate again, trying to trip you up. C, engage the stakeholder to understand participation barriers and improve feedback flow. Or D, remove the stakeholder from future communications. What do you think here? This one should jump out at you, and I think you already know the answer. Always remember, in any of our videos, pause me so you can try to test your knowledge first, and then we'll come back together and see what we chose, okay? C is the answer, right? There's that engagement piece. There goes that think and then communicate. Engage the stakeholder. Understand why they're missing. Maybe there's a reason. Maybe they're double booked. Okay. Agile leaders should seek to understand why the stakeholder's not participating, not take it personal. Well, they're not just showing up, and so we're going to remove them. No, you never do that. So ignoring it is not real feedback, and it causes a risk down the road. So we want to engage them. We always want to communicate in Agile, right? Escalation before engagement is always wrong. I'm telling you, you don't want to do that, right? If there's an opportunity for you to engage that stakeholder, please do it. That's going to be key. And then D, it reduced the transparency and makes alignment worse. So C was the best answer. We want to engage that stakeholder. Hey, why are you not showing up? Is there a problem? All right, question 4. Team member consistently waits for manager approval before making low risk technical decisions the team is capable of making. What should the agile leader do? So he's consistently waiting for manager approval. All right, what should we do? A, continue approving decisions so the work does not slow down. Okay. Encourage self-organization and clarify decision boundaries. Sounds good too. Move the team member to a less complex task. Ask the sponsor to require faster approvals. I think you can eliminate 2 of these answers here. Okay, so think about this. Remember the agile principles. We welcome change. Teams need to be self-organizing, right? And there's a reduction in bottlenecks, if you will. What did you choose? Well, question number 4, the answer is B. Encourage organization and clarify decision boundaries, right? That empowers the team to make their decisions. See, agile teams need empowerment and clear decisions. So, right, so they can go ahead and move out. So the agile leader should coach the team member towards ownership while clarifying, okay, here are our boundaries. It's not a free-for-all. Agile doesn't mean free-for-all. It doesn't mean we just do what we want to do. No, there are still parameters. So A, reinforce dependency and not self-organization, and that's what we don't want to do in Agile, right? C, avoided coaching the behavior. And then D, escalates the team empowerment issues unnecessarily. So remember, the Norris PMI thinking framework: think, communicate, lead, coaching, ownership, and then deliver. It increases the flow and confidence and makes it easy. Agile is just that. It's agile. It's not like predictive, where you may have those bottlenecks and those phase gates, where you need to kind of look at teams and get approval. Well, in Agile, we want to empower the team so they can make those decisions and have that ownership and move forward. Well, we're doing great. Hopefully you're 4 for 4 right at the halfway point, all right? And then we're going to do one expert question. Look at number 5 here. During 3 consecutive retrospectives, the team identifies the same quality issue but takes no action between sprints. What is the best response? A, stop discussing the issue because it has already been identified. Increase the length of future retrospects. Escalate the team to senior management for non-compliance. Or create a specific improvement experiment with an owner and follow-up. All right, well, escalation, get rid of that, right? Because you're passing on the work that the team and the team could do together. Stop discussing it is never an issue. That's what a retrospect is for, okay? A retrospective is for that discussion piece so the team can see what they did well and what they need to do differently in the next iteration, all right? And then increasing the length of the future retrospect. I don't think that really speaks to the issue. I think that's looking at or trying to correct the symptom and not the answer. I'm leaning towards D. What do you have? There it is, D. I like D, right? Retrospectives are meant to drive inspection and adaptation and to correct some things. The best action is to convert repeated concerns into a measurable improvement, right? Let's get some ownership, let's get some follow-up, and let's hold the team to that. See, A, normalize the problem. B, adds time without action. It's just kind of looking at the symptoms of the problem and not really dealing with it. And then D, escalate before the team attempts to improve the plan. Again, it's not the right answer. Think about the Norris PMI thinking framework when you're looking at a question like this. Think, communicate, lead. You're the agile leader. You're going to be the certified PMI-ACP. And if there's time to coach, coach. If there's time not to coach, but you want to empower the team, then do that. But at that retrospective, the team needs to be empowered together so that we can have some clear inspection and adaptation so that we can move forward. All right, let's look at question 6. And don't forget, always pause me if I'm going too fast, okay? So you can read through it. An organization requires formal governance checkpoints. Okay, that's fair. But the delivery teams work iteratively and need room to adapt requirements. Which approach is best? Okay, so think about this question. They're working in iterations and need room to adapt requirements. What's the best approach? So you may have two of these that are good, but what's the best one? Use only predicted delivery to satisfy governance. You can eliminate that because we're talking about an agile project. Use only agile delivery and ignore governance expectations. Tailor a hybrid approach that preserves governance while enabling iterative delivery. Or D, delay the project until the organization removes all government controls. The answer should jump out at you with this one. What did you choose? Let's give it a go. See, there it is. Tailor, agile, tailor, hybrid, right? So governance speaks to predictive waterfall. Agile allows itself to merge with that predictive waterfall methodology. So guess what? We have a hybrid approach. See, it's appropriate when governance and adaptive delivery both matter. So if we have governance, predictive kind of, I don't want to call it stagnant, but stringent rules or delivery, if you will, but we can still be agile. So we marry the two in a hybrid method, right? So just letter A was restrictive. It was just agile. I mean, it was just predictive. So we don't want that. B was just agile, where we have governance rules that we must follow. So the agile leader should tailor the approach. You're going to see a lot of these words, tailor the approach to protect decision controls. That was the governance piece, while enabling the iterative learning and delivery by the team. So we don't handcuff the team in this agile delivery, but we're still being compliant with the governance while enabling that delivery. So the Norris PMI Thinking Framework: analyze this decision, communicate with the team, lead, tailor without being rigid, right? And then deliver the value to the customer in this context early and often. That was a little tricky one, but I hope you got it. All right, number 7, we're almost there. A high priority external dependency may delay a release. Okay. The team is not yet blocked. They're not blocked, so it may. But the risk is becoming more likely. What should the agile leader do first? Okay. So it's not an issue yet, but it's getting there. Make the dependency visible and identify response options with the team. Wait until the dependency becomes an issue. Cancel the release immediately, or ask leadership to remove the dependency from the project. What do you think? It's a risk now. So you put on your PMP hat with this PMI-ACP hat. It's a risk. It's looking like it may come. What should we do? I'm leaning towards A. What did you choose? A, you're right. So make it visible. Information radiators, make it visible. And then we want to identify a response. Unlike a predictive project where you may have a risk response already, because we're welcoming change in an agile project, we want to make it visible, and then we'll get with the team, communication. What's our best response? See, agile risk management is proactive and transparent. We don't wait. B wanted us to wait. That's reactive. We want to be proactive. C is overreacting before analysis, which is the first block in the Norris PMI Thinking Framework. And then D, it's unrealistic and it avoids the team level response planning. So here, the first action is to make this uncertainty visible, understand the impact with the team, collaboration, and identify a response option before the risk becomes an issue. If we can ward it off and be proactive and transparent, that is always the best answer in Agile. And you don't want to forget that, okay? We're trying to deliver value. We want to protect value. So we got to make it visible, but then we have to plan a response. And Agile gives us that ability to do that within that sprint, within that iteration. and then we can move out. All right, two more questions. I hope you're 7 for 7. I hope you're doing good here. All right, a product owner is prioritizing the backlog items based primarily on stakeholder influence instead of customer value, risk reduction, and strategic outcomes. Okay, we want to deliver value, so product owners are doing something a little different here. What should the agile leader encourage? Remember, the product owner oversees the backlog, but what should the agile leader encourage? A, continue prioritizing influence because senior stakeholders matter most. B, allow developers to reprioritize the backlog without the product owner. C, escalate the product owner to the sponsor. Or D, prioritize based on value, outcomes, risk, and validate learning. Now, I read through those questions kind of fast, but what should the agile leader encourage? Remember, the product owner always oversees the backlog. So B, you can get rid of that, right? The developers are not going to override the product owner and reprioritize the backlog. So immediately we're eliminating B. All right. Continuing and prioritizing senior stakeholders matters most over value. We eliminate that one. And then what did I always say about escalation? It may need to happen later, but what should I encourage? I'm leaning towards D. What did you choose? D is the best answer. See, product decisions should be transparent and value-based, not based on the stakeholder's influence. So stakeholder input matters, yes, but prioritization should be guided by the outcomes, the business value, and customer feedback, risk, and learning, okay? And the other three options didn't do that for us, so D was the best answer. How do you utilize the newest PMI thinking framework? You think first. What creates the most value? Communicate that with the team. What's going to create that visibility? Then you lead out. You're coaching. You're encouraging this to the product owner. And then you're going to be able to deliver that value to the customer. All right, question number 9. Velocity has decreased over the last 3 sprints. So the team is taking a dip. Leadership asks the agile leader to add 2 more developers immediately. What should happen first? Okay. Add developers immediately to increase capacity. What should you do first? Investigate root causes with the team using delivery and flow data. Increase sprint length so the team can complete more work. Or D, ask each developer to commit more to story points. So all of these could be right, but what is the question asking you? What should happen first? Take a look. What do you think? B is the correct answer. See, investigate the root causes. That's the first block of the Norris PMI Thinking Framework. Velocity has declined. Okay, it's a signal. It's a signal. It's not a diagnosis. It doesn't mean anything's wrong. It doesn't mean the team can't handle it, but we need to figure out why. Root cause analysis. So the agile leader should investigate with the team. Are there any blockers that the agile leader needs to remove? Are there any dependencies? What is the work size? What is the quality issues? Are there any interruptions or changes in team capacity before prescribing a solution? See, A, assume capacity is the cause without investigating. C, changes cadence without evidence. We don't know yet. And then D, weaponizes story points and may damage trust with the team. And the third block of the Norris PMI Thinking Framework says we lead, we remove these blockers, but we do it collaboratively. We do it as a team, not in silos, not as an agile leader. We get with the team. And that's why B is correct, not because we believe that we're always right, but we need to understand why there's a dip in velocity. And we do that with the team. All right, our last moderate question. I think all of these have been moderate, none of them have been difficult. So we'll do another video adding those. All right, question number 10. 2 experienced team members disagree strongly about the implementation approach. That happens. The disagreement is starting to slow the team. What should the agile leader do? A, facilitate collaborative problem solving and help the team evaluate options. Okay. Choose the approach personally to end the debate. Just end it. C, escalate the disagreement to the sponsor. Or D, assign the work to a different team member. This one should jump right out at you, right? What should we do as an agile leader, as a servant leader? All right. I'm leaning towards A, and that is correct. Facilitate. See, agile leaders facilitate rather than dictate. We don't just jump in to end it. No, let's facilitate. Let's figure out why they're arguing. Again, that you can also use that root cause. What's causing the issue? The best move is to help the team compare options. Let's facilitate a good conversation. Let's clarify the decision criteria, and let's reach a constructive technical decision. Let's look at all of them. Let's look at all of the decisions, and let's create a self-discussion space. Number 10 kind of reminds me of question number 1, if you remember. Question number 1 talked about stakeholders kind of berating folks in a retrospect. No, you want to clear that out. Well, these are two disagreements. They're two experiences. Let's facilitate the question. See, B, remove the team ownership, and then C, escalates too early. We may not even need to do that if we can kind of have a conversation. Now, if nothing's happening, you may need to escalate, but the question is says, what do you need to do first? And then D, avoids the conflict rather than strengthening the collaboration. And I think sometimes in a conflict, you can get some good collaboration and some good feedback from team members. All right, let's look at one expert question. A hybrid project is delivering features on schedule, within budget, and meeting technical requirements. Okay, sounds good so far. However, user adoption remains significantly below expectation. What should concern the agile leader most? What should be the concern here? A, technical debt. B, velocity accuracy. C, value realization. Or D, burn down chart accuracy. All of these answers are buzzwords in agile and project management. Don't get turned off by that. The question is asking you, the user adoption remains significantly below expectations. So what they were expecting is below that. Why? What did you choose? C. See, this expert level is because the project appears healthy by traditional delivery measures. So it was on schedule, it was delivering on time, it was under budget. You're like, oh, okay, good. But there's low adoption. That means the project may not be producing the intended outcome or value. Agile wants to deliver value early and often to our customers, right? So the PMBOK thinking both emphasizes this outcome over the activity. Even though the project and the triple constraints are on pace, the value is not being realized. So there may be technical debt, right? But it's not stated as the core issue. B and D are delivery metrics. They're not value outcomes, right? So using the Norris PMI Thinking framework, what outcome is missing? Value. How should we communicate? We want to know why the users are not using it. And then we need to lead. Why is this adoption not happening? So let's have a conversation and then we can deliver value, not just features. That was a tricky one. I don't know if it caught you off guard or that you got it, but it was a good one. So here's our review. Servant leadership, it protects the safety of the team. That was question number 1. And agile change requires value and impact analysis, not just blind acceptance. Even though we're doing agile, it's not just chaos, right? There's still some boundaries that we need to follow. Stakeholder collaboration is ongoing. Leadership is responsible, right? Retrospects must produce action, not just having conversations, right? Not just loops of conversation. Hybrid is tailored, right? So we want to make sure that we understand that when we see a governance question and we see a hybrid answer, that's probably going to be the best answer because it marries predictive and agile, and then product thinking prioritizes outcomes over influence. All right. Well, I hope this has helped you. All of the information for our boot camps and following us on LinkedIn will be in this video. Sign up for a free 15-minute consultation. I'll get online with you and we can do a free 15-minute consultation, whether you're sitting for the PMI-ACP or the PMP exam, okay? Don't just memorize frameworks. Learn how to facilitate, coach, prioritize value when you're talking about the PMI-ACP, protect flow, and lead adaptive teams. That's what PMI-ACP is really testing you. Well, I hope you've enjoyed yourself. Here's another episode of Strategic Solutions Technology. I'm your host, Dr. Travis Norris, and I am the founder and the developer of the Norris PMI Thinking Framework. We try to help you sit and pass your exams. Well, I say this all the time. I can't wait to see you on the other side of certification. If we can be of any assistance to you or your colleagues, please use our services, and we'll see you again next time. Bye-bye.